Okay, so imagine this. The fight against dragons, right? But it's not just fire and claws. What if there's also, like, homemade gunpowder involved
Yeah.
and whispers of old science?
Yeah, and picture a rebellion where you've got a former slave holding a shotgun, standing next to someone who actually remembers a high-tech past.
Exactly. That's what we're diving into today. Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we help you get up to speed on complex stuff fast.
And today, we're tackling excerpts from James Maxey's Dragonseed, a novel of Dragon Age. And yeah, it's a fantasy world, dragons and all, but it goes deeper.
Oh, definitely. These bits we have, they're surprisingly dense. They really make you think about rebellion, about technology shifting power, societal structures breaking down.
So for you listening, think of this as your curated tour, our mission. Pull out the key players, the big conflicts, the main themes driving things forward in these excerpts.
We want you to get the essentials.
Right.
Quickly but properly.
Exactly. Efficient and thorough.
All right, mission set. Let's kick things off with the spark of rebellion, Shay. He's our starting point.
Right. Young slave works for a dragon scholar, Shapalian, and the interesting thing is he's literate.
Which is unusual. He's had it, well, maybe not easy, but better than others. So it's not just pure desperation driving him.
That's a really key point. It's not just about physical hardship. His literacy, maybe being around Shapalian, it probably exposed him to the injustice of the system itself,
Yeah.
The lack of freedom, dignity.
But he's still got scars, physical reminders.
Oh, yeah. The threat of brutality is always there, even for him. It's not like he was safe.
And he doesn't escape alone. He ropes in Turpin.
Described as tough, worldly wise.
And Hemming, who's much more scared, reluctant.
Understandably so, as it turns out.
Because their escape attempt goes wrong fast. They run into dragon slave catchers, Zernex and Inazin.
And this encounter just slams home the power imbalance. It's brutal.
Inazin just kills Turpin, crushes his windpipe, just like that.
Swift, brutal, casual. It shows the absolute power the dragons wield, and Hemming's terror. It's completely palpable. You see why rebellion is so terrifying.
But Shay, what strikes me is his determination. He's never fought before, apparently.
No experience.
Yet he's running towards Dragonforge, the rebel base.
Yeah.
It's pure conviction, isn't it? This, like, inner drive.
Absolutely. It's that idealistic spark.
Right.
Justice over experience. He's running on pure will, basically. That's definitely going to be tested when he gets there.
Right, and Dragonforge itself. Wow, what a setting.
Yeah, former foundry, now a rebel stronghold. The descriptions are intense.
Sulfurous plumes, soot everywhere, the smell of coal mixed with repurposed crematorium. Grim.
Really grim. It paints a picture of desperation, resourcefulness, using whatever they can find, no matter how dark its past. The place itself feels like the rebellion.
And inside, we meet the key human figures. Let's start with Jandra.
Okay, Jandra, her backstory is something else. Raised by a sky dragon.
But she has memories, like echoes of a high-tech past, of a goddess Jasmine Robertson.
Yeah, and she knows about gunpowder. She can handle herself physically. But there's a catch.
She's missing her genie, the source of her main power.
Exactly. So right now, she's relying on bluff, on her wits, on that fragmented knowledge. She's vulnerable.
Plus, being raised by dragons must make her feel pretty isolated among the humans.
Oh, for sure. Caught between worlds. That adds a whole other layer of tension.
Then there's Burke. Burke the machinist.
Right. Cherokee inventor. Working nonstop, even with a broken leg.
Building weapons. A shotgun, specifically. He seems like the practical one.
Totally. He's focused on the nuts and bolts, the resources, the defense, the pragmatic core of the rebellion. And his heritage, Cherokee, adds another interesting cultural thread.
His dedication, even injured, is pretty clear.
Definitely. He's the anchor, in a way.
Contrasting sharply with Ragnar.
Ragnar. Charismatic, yes, but ruthless.
His style is join or die.
Yeah.
He's got these enforcers, the mighty men, Stonewall, Frost.
Classic strongman tactics, but what's really telling is his distrust of knowledge.
Burning Burke's book. That feels significant.
Hugely significant. It shows a rejection of strategy, maybe. A reliance purely on force, which, well, that can be a weakness. Resisting new ideas in a rebellion is often not a great sign.
So you've got this internal friction brewing already.
Yeah.
But they have had some success, right? The Skywall bow.
Yeah, seems effective against dragons, which is huge. A real tactical advantage, gives them a fighting chance in the air.
But resources are low, and everyone's expecting a dragon counterattack.
The situation is precarious, definitely. And that leadership clash between Ragnar's iron fist and Burke's more strategic, maybe more sustainable approach, It's classic.
A power struggle waiting to happen.
Exactly. Whose vision wins out?
And right into this mess walks Shay, our inexperienced idealist.
Huh, yeah. Burke's reaction is pretty understandable. Suspicious. Kid shows up with no fighting skills.
But Burke gives him a shotgun anyway.
Which says a lot about Burke, right?
Hmm.
Pragmatic. He sees the weapon as the equalizer, not necessarily the person holding it initially. Technology bridging the gap.
Okay, so things are tense in Dragonforge. But the ripples are spreading outside too.
Definitely. We meet Vulpine, a sky dragon.
And he's worried. The status quo is disrupted.
He's investigating. He noticed the dead slave catchers, Shay's missing, the stolen books. He's connecting dots, possibly towards Jandra. He's like a dragon detective trying to figure out this new threat.
And the dragons are hitting back hard elsewhere. The Earth Dragons.
Yeah, the Molten Massacre. Horrific retaliation against human villages, shows the brutal cost for civilians caught in the middle.
And even within Dragon Society, things are unstable. The Sun Dragons are apparently in disarray after the loss at Dragonforge.
Power vacuum. Talk of civil war looming among them, so the rebellion isn't just hitting humans, it's shaking the dragon power structure itself.
Meanwhile, Shay's old master, Shepielian, he's moved up in the world.
High biologian now. Position of influence.
But his priorities seem off. He's more worried about politics, getting his stolen books back, than the actual rebellion.
And he dismisses Jandra's abilities as just tricks, not real magic. It feels like dangerous complacency, maybe. Underestimating the threat.
Could be a major weakness in the dragon leadership. Intellectual arrogance, maybe?
It often is, historically speaking. Underestimating your enemy because they seem primitive or their methods are unfamiliar.
Then things get even more complex. New players arrive. Bitterwood.
Legendary dragon slayer.
Yeah.
Guided by ghosts from a massacred village. That's quite the entrance.
He's looking for Jandra, and he drops a bombshell. Claims he killed the goddess.
Whoa. Okay, that throws a wrench into everything we thought we knew about Jandra's past and this Jasmine Robertson figure. Adds a whole layer of myth and maybe personal vendetta.
And traveling with Bitterwood.
Zeke. A young girl who can hear spirits trapped in a crystal ball.
And a pig named Poocher. Can't forget Poocher.
Right. Zeke's ability, though, hearing spirits, the crystal ball, it hints at something beyond just technology or dragon politics. Something supernatural or maybe interdimensional.
It opens up possibilities. So with all these people converging, the alliances get messy, power shifts. Jandra's still struggling with Jasmine's memories.
Desperate to get her genie back, maybe to control those memories, understand her own identity, still feeling like an outsider.
And back in Dragonforge, Burke's leadership is openly challenged now by Ragnar and his guys.
Yeah, Stonewall is mentioned. Burke's focused on survival, keeping people safe. Ragnar seems more about power, maybe glory.
It's that fundamental clash again. Pragmatism versus something else.
Authoritarianism, maybe? Personal ambition?
And weaving through all this is the confusion over magic versus technology. Burke's guns are understandable, tangible.
But Jandra's abilities, the nanites, that feels like witchcraft to some. It creates suspicion, division.
Fear of the unknown, right. When new kinds of power emerge, we should probably clarify nanites for people.
Good point. Think microscopic machines, tiny robots that can work at a cellular level, build things, heal things. In Jandra's case, they seem to be the source of her strange abilities. It looks like magic, but it's described as advanced tech.
Blurring those lines. Then we hear about longworms and riders.
Yeah, described as less intelligent than other dragons, so maybe another faction. Or just beasts of burden for other dragons.
It shows dragon isn't just one thing. There's a hierarchy. Different types.
Exactly. Adds complexity to their society.
And there's this mention of a free city connected to the goddess. Potential threats there too. Women in white robes worshipping a healer.
Another thread. Hints at a wider world, other human groups, maybe different belief systems or power structures entirely, outside the dragon rebel conflict.
Just when you think you're mapping things out. Surprises.
Yeah.
Anza.
Right. Seemed quiet, unassuming.
Then suddenly reveals these incredible fighting skills, defending Shay and Jandra from Earth Dragons.
Total surprise. Shows you can't judge by appearances. Hidden depths. Adds unpredictability.
And Burke takes a major hit. Loses his leg.
Brutal. But his reaction is incredible. Still focused on leading, defending Dragonforge. Sheer resilience.
Real strength of character. Leadership beyond just physical ability. And then, the biggest shock yet. Blasted Fit. The black dragon everyone thought was dead.
He just reappears, protected by disciples, claims he faked his death.
And he can heal. cures Anza's muteness, offers to heal Burke.
It completely flips the script on dragons. Healing abilities, orchestrated deaths, manipulation. Suddenly they seem much more complex, maybe even having factions or abilities we never suspected.
And if that wasn't enough, Jandra drops the Atlantis bomb.
Right, she's been there. Gained knowledge of underspace gates.
We should explain those too, like shortcuts through space, portals, ways to travel vast distances, maybe even between dimensions.
Something like that. Physics-bending travel. And she plans to go back to destroy it. And she needs allies.
This just blows the whole conflict wide open. It's not just about this valley or these dragons anymore. There's a whole lost, advanced civilization involved.
Atlantis! It changes everything. The scope just expanded massively.
And the tech keeps escalating. Burke unveils the angry beetle.
Basically a flamethrower war machine.
Used against Ragnar's forces.
Yeah, the internal conflict boils over. Technology turned inwards. A grim sign of how fractured the rebellion is becoming.
They even use it to escape a trap Ragnar set for them.
Desperate measures. Shows how critical Burke's inventions are not just against dragons, but against betrayal from within.
Jandra gives us a bit more insight into the Atlantean tech, too, explaining hyper-friction saddles.
Yeah, defying normal physics. Like surfaces interacting with almost no resistance, allowing crazy speeds or maneuvers.
It really hammers home. This isn't standard fantasy magic. There's lost science here.
A whole different paradigm.
And then Zeki's crystal ball, connecting to underspace, to trapped spirits. That still feels more mystical.
It does. It coexists with the tech. Suggests reality here might include other dimensions, consciousness surviving death. It's a mix of sci-fi and supernatural elements.
Amidst all the fighting, some unexpected ideas pop up. Hex, a sun dragon.
Advocating for ending slavery. For humans and dragons.
That's radical, coming from a dragon. Challenges the whole foundation of their society.
Shows not all dragons think alike. Introduces an ethical dimension from an unexpected place.
While another sun dragon, Rorg, is just playing the power game. Wants to be king.
So that civil war is definitely brewing. Dragon society is fragmenting, fighting itself. Which could be good or bad for the humans, hard to say.
And the tactics get uglier. Vulpine using corpse scarecrows.
Psychological warfare shows the desperation on both sides, the escalating brutality.
Okay, climax building. These mysterious figures arrive at Dragonforge, flying, healing. They call themselves angels.
Yeah, wings, nanites, advanced tech. But who are they? Where did they come from? Total mystery, huge power shift.
Until the reveal.
Damn, it's not angels from somewhere else.
It's Burke and Anza, Vance, Thorny, using the advanced tech themselves.
They explicitly say it's not magic, it's technology they've figured out or activated.
Mind blown. That reframes everything. The miracles are human ingenuity, human adaptation of this lost tech.
It demystifies it, but makes it almost more impressive in a way. It's their power now, not some external force.
But even facing flying rebels with advanced tech, Ragnar won't back down.
Stubborn, refuses to yield. Clinging to his authority, his way, even when it's clearly obsolete or overpowered, setting up more conflict.
And then, just as things reach this peak, key players leave.
Jandra, Hex, Bitterwood, Vendivorex, poof, through an underspace gate, heading for Atlantis.
Leaves Dragonforge kind of hanging, doesn't it? Shifts the focus dramatically. What happens there now?
Big question mark. The main conflict seems to be moving elsewhere, or at least a major part of it is.
And back in the aftermath, Zeke and Shay are left. And Shay tries to destroy the crystal ball.
That feels really symbolic, trying to break free from the past, from the goddess's legacy, the trapped spirits, maybe seeking a clean slate.
Could be. Wow. Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways.
Well, a rebellion far more complex than just humans versus dragons. Deep internal power struggles on both sides.
A massive role of advanced, seemingly lost technology, blurring lines with what looks like magic.
And powerful new players entering the game. Blastfit, Bitterwood, the whole Atlantis connection.
The aha moments were definitely the angels being Burke's crew.
Oh, yeah. And Atlantis actually being real, reachable through underspace. Zeke's connection to the spirits, too.
It's a dense world, but these excerpts give you, the learner, a really solid, fascinating overview quickly.
Yeah, you get the core conflicts, the surprising twists, themes of rebellion, power, reality itself. Lots to chew on.
So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. With Jandra and company off to Atlantis, and Burke's team now wielding this tech in Dragonforge, what is the future here?
How does that power balance shift now between humans and dragons and even among humans? And what exactly are Burke's team planning to do with their newfound angelic powers?
Or maybe think about this blurring line between magic and tech. What does it suggest about how we define power or progress? How easily can one be mistaken for the other, and what happens when that mistake is revealed?
Definitely something to ponder, a world teetering on the edge of massive change.